Hi, everyone. I'm William Cunningham of My Hope in Marriage at myhopeinmarriage.com. My Hope in Marriage is a website that provides resources to help people build a fulfilling marriage. It provides things from, what to do, learning about marriage, what to do before you get married, and so forth and so on. It's not about the marriage ceremony or anything because there may not be one, but it's after that wedding day, getting to know each other. And I just provide a bunch of resources that you can use to educate yourself to build a fulfilling and happy marriage with your spouse. Now, today I'm going to discuss with you, or I'm going to talk about some things that a man wants from his wife, that a man wants from a woman in the marriage relationship. And it's important that you understand that this is from a man's perspective. This is from my perspective. And let's say I consider myself perhaps the, average guy. There's nothing that would make me be an exception to the general way that a guy thinks. I do tend to be very analytical, but there are many people that are very analytical, even women. That's not a man thing. But I want to discuss with you from a man's perspective things that a man wants from his wife. And I have 12 things listed. All right. Okay. Let me get to that. What are all those things? The first thing is respect. And before I get into that, there's something I wanted to say because when you look online for this type, with this type of question, what a man wants, what a husband wants from his wife, what a man wants from his wife, and so forth, you're going to see a lot of articles. And I found a lot of articles that attempted to answer that question, but they were from a woman's perspective. And real quick, you can see that those articles were written from a woman's perspective. For example, let me just give you an example. I wrote some of them down as I was going through, and I saw a lot of consistency. For example, a man wants you to. Here it was one. It said romantic gestures. Yeah, treat him to romantic gestures, and we're going to find that's not quite right. It's close. It's getting there, but it's not quite right. As far as man wants to be, to hold hands and hug him and stuff like that. And we're going to find that that's not quite right. But there are many other things that are said that a man wants from his wife, but it was written from the wife's perspective, from a woman's perspective, and those types of lists are not good because they do not accurately depict the psyche of a man and what he therefore wants from his wife. I'm going to tell you that from a man's perspective. All right. All right. The first thing a man wants, as I was saying, was respect. You don't have respect for your husband, you're going to cause a whole heap of trouble. He's going to disconnect from you very quickly. All right. You're going to have a roommate faster than you ever thought possible. He's going to disengage. You keep disrespecting your husband, he's not going to want to have anything to do with you. He's not going to want to be bothered with you, But if he, being a man, he's going to stick around for his responsibilities. He's responsible. And besides, he made a vow. He made a vow to you. All right, but you should respect him. I shouldn't say you better. Well, you should. It's very advantageous that you respect your husband. For example, don't backtalk. If he said something, don't always have to have the last word, or you want to antagonize him, or you don't want to just present yourself like you're a know-it-all and you don't know anything. Respect him. He may be wrong, but tell him, but respectfully. It doesn't mean that you have to bow down to him, but you want to respect him. Think about it. You do it with other people. You respect your boss. Your boss may tell you something that's 100% wrong. All right. But you're not going to start bad mouthing your boss. Right. Respect your husband. You respect your boss's power. Respect your husband as the man he is, your husband. Okay. Um, so you're going to respect his opinions. He may have an opinion about something. He may have an opinion about something that you're doing. Respect him. Don't just, brush off what he says and disrespect him that way. Respect his criticisms. He may criticize. Guys are wired. We're just wired to protect and to care for. All right. So when we see something that we believe is going to cause a problem, for example, let's say I remember my wife when she drives. She was putting her turn signal on too late. Some people they go to make the turn, and as they're turning, they put on a turn signal to say, "Hey, I'm turning," and I would say, put your turn signal on earlier. And the reason I said that is because I saw danger. I saw someone might not realize it until the last minute or whatever. So when your husband said something, when he criticizes you, don't take it as just mere criticism, but his efforts to care for you. Because I know, your husband knows, the guys know they're not going to be with you all the time. And they're not going to have that level of control all the time. So they're going to try to do things and institute things that will protect you even when he is not there. Okay? Respect in the same way you respect his advice. Just blow him off because you don't agree with the advice or you don't understand the advice. If the advice is way off, it's way off, then just express that respectfully and give him a better context so he understands what the problem is, because we want to solve the problem. All right. Okay. So respect your husband, and a lot of these things can fall under respect. You can disrespect your husband in many different ways. All right. Respect him. All right. All right. Love him his way. See, that's important because a lot of times a woman in these articles, these women authors would write, love your husband, hold his hand, hug him, give him words of kindness and stuff like that. Oh, that's cute. But as we're going to see in a moment, a man wants sex. He wants to connect with his wife. But we'll talk about that later. But you want to love him in his language. If you're not familiar with the 5 love languages, you should become familiar with it as soon as possible, because you may be doing things to and for your husband that he's not equating to love, because he doesn't receive love on those frequencies, on those different channels. You're trying to, for example, you're trying to listen to, I don't know, rhythm and blues, but you got your radio tuned to country. All right. So you want to love him in his language. And there are 5 basic love languages. There's words of affirmation. There's physical touch. There's gift giving. There's acts of service. And there is quality time. Maybe your husband wants to spend quality time with you, but you keep telling him how great he is. And he's like, I don't really care. Well, not that he doesn't really care. It's like if, for example, let's say you've been in a desert for hours and you're just dying of thirst, and you meet one person, they give you a steak. Oh, that steak was delicious, but I'm still dying of thirst. And someone gives you chocolate cake. Oh, that was delicious, but I'm still dying of thirst. All right, he's dying of quality time because that is his love language, and you keep giving him words of affirmation. So you should understand that. So you should love him in the way that he receives love. I had a little technical glitch there. All right. So you should love him in the way that he receives love, and affection and so forth. And not just assume that he receives and gives love the way you do. Very important. Okay? All right. Also, what he wants, And I could have made this number two. I probably should have. He wants an emotional connection through sex. Now, this is where a lot of the women authors about what a man wants get wrong. You know, a man wants affection. Yeah, he wants to hold hands, hug, kisses, and stuff like that. Those are nice, but you know, he wants to have sex with his wife. Period. And it's not just a physical thing; it's more of a need in the relationship, because through sex he receives and gives love. Through sex rather he emotionally connects with his wife through sex. He emotionally connects with his wife, and without that emotional connection, you're going to quickly become roommates, and that's not good. He's going to eventually resent you. He's going to resent the relationship, and that's providing an environment for infidelity, for a breakdown of the marriage as it is. All right. So you should understand he wants sex from his wife. Period. A man goes into the marriage assuming and expecting that. And when you deprive him of that, you're only going to cause trouble for the relationship. Period. I don't care how much he's smiling. I don't care how much he's standing there, because then you're taking him for granted, which we'll talk about that a little later. You're taking him for granted that, oh, we're not having sex, so it's okay. He doesn't seem to have a problem. No, he's just being responsible. But it's building up on the inside. I mean, if you find that your husband is becoming irritable, you know, in the same way, let's say a woman has a period every month or so, and all of a sudden this guy is becoming increasingly irritable, then you ask yourself, when's the last time we had sex? All right? Because that sexual tension, the stresses of life build up in this guy. And sex with his wife is the way that those tensions and stress can be relieved. It means a whole lot to the man. And if you deprive him, it's kind of like you have what do you mean, an environmental effect, an eco effect. You know, one thing, you know, you get rid of this, and because this animal can't feed, they die off. Or this animal was the prey for this animal, so it's like this chain reaction. So you don't have sex with your husband, you're just asking for trouble. All right? Because he needs it for the relationship. He needs it to connect with you emotionally. And initiate it. Don't make it to be, I'm just going to acquiesce to him. I'm just going to just patronize him. I'm just going to be a body for him to, no, initiate it. He wants to know that you desire him, that you want him, that you love him by you initiating sex. All right. And that's where these women, they write these articles, they don't get that. A guy is not after affection. He wants affection. He does want affection. He wants to feel that he's wanted and so forth. And that your marriage to him is not just because of what he can offer in the relationship. Chris Rock, I think it was Chris Rock, said something I think I heard on either it was YouTube, I think it was Instagram, a little clip where he said men are the only creatures that are not loved unconditionally. We're loved conditionally, what we bring to the table. The guy doesn't want to feel that from his wife. That'll be really, really bad. And you may not realize it, and you may take it for granted that his needs aren't met because he's still smiling. He's still there. He's still being, the champion of the household. He's still going to work, trying to provide for you and the family, trying to, perhaps make you happy or whatever. And he's not complaining, at least openly and consistently, about his deficiency. It'll come up. It's going to come up, all right, in ways that you may not realize. But he's trying to keep it together, and you're rejecting him. I have a study and a video about the consequences of wives rejecting their husband. All right, so a husband wants to have that emotional connection with his wife through sex. And that checks a whole lot of boxes in the relationship for him, a whole lot of boxes in the relationship. All right. They say that well, I'm not going to get into it. All right, he wants a wife to be not lazy. He wants a working wife, and by working wife, I don't mean wife has to have a 9 to 5 job. The wife may decide, and they may agree that she stay home and be a housewife, or she stay home and take care of the kids. That's fine. You're working. You're working. Um, so he wants that. He doesn't want a wife that's just going to be laying around the house watching TV and soap operas, and going out with the girls and so forth and so on, while he's busting his butt doing things. And even if she's working and she's, not really doing anything in the house but just having fun, he doesn't want that. That's going to cause a lot of friction in the relationship. And you should be aware that he wants a working wife. And by working, again, I don't mean 9 to 5 job. That's a working wife. But she's actually working to contribute to the household, to the relationship, to the family. All right? Okay. He wants a partner. And this is an area where I call togetherness. He wants his wife to be with him. He wants a partner for the household and for him in his life. He wants, the Bible says, a helper. He wants a helper, someone who's going to help him, someone's going to be with him by his side. That's what he wants from his wife. When you have a situation in a marriage where she does her job and he does his job, you become roommates. That's not good. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want a roommate. If he wanted a roommate, he wouldn't have gotten married. All right? He wanted you. All right? All right. And here's something that is very important. Most guys know, all right, and they expect, and they're even told by other married men that when you get married, the woman's going to change on you. All right? And I find that women tend to be really focused on that wedding day, the pomp and the circumstances, the bridesmaids, the colors, the decorations, and the ceremony and all that thing. And the guy, he's thinking about the house we're going to live in. He's thinking about the neighborhood. He's thinking about his wife. I don't care if we just go to the justice of the peace, as long as we're married. I don't care. I remember when I was getting married, when we were preparing for the ceremony, I was like, I really didn't care. I really did not care. Right? I was thinking about the mortgage because I decided I wanted a house. I was thinking, okay, I would like to have a car. I like to have nice things in a house and so forth and so on. Right? That's what I was thinking about. And then you had this reception. We got to feed all these people. And I was not of the mindset that it is the bride's family's responsibility to do that. We're getting married. We pay for it. All right, but anyway, that's something a husband wants his wife to be with him. He wants his wife to be with him. He also wants, I should have been numbering these things. This is number 6. Number 1 was respect. Number 2 was love. Number 3 was an emotional connection through sex. Number 4 was someone that's a working wife, and I explained what that meant. Number 5 was a partnership or togetherness, someone to be with him. And number 6 is understanding, someone who knows him, someone who gets him. Right? He wants that, someone that he gets, that gets him. Right? Because she knows him, she speaks his love language. And we talked about that, the 5 different love languages. Because she knows him, this is important, guys, wives. You learn your husband's love language. What's his frequency of love? When you do something, what can you do such that he says, I know she loves me? All right. Rather it's quality time, rather it's words of affirmation or whatever. All right. You understand who this guy is. You understand. You get him. Anybody can get statistics about a person, demographics, if you will. Anybody can learn, okay, that his favorite color is, his favorite meal is, his favorite pair of pants is. Anybody can figure that out by looking at him and spending time with him. But you get him. You understand him. And that's what he wants his wife to understand him, to know him deeply, more than just statistically. Okay. Number 7, he wants someone that shows an interest in what he does. That doesn't mean that you have to get involved in it. For example, if your husband is mechanically oriented, he likes to tinker with cars or machines. That doesn't mean that you have to say, okay, I have to sacrifice myself and learn how to do cars. No, just show an interest. So, honey, what you doing? Oh, I'm fixing this, whatever. I'm changing out this, or, I'm rebuilding the engine. So what does that thing do right there? Now, you don't want to go too far because you can start nagging him and he wants to get some work done. But just show an interest. I program. I do web development. I'm a systems administrator by occupation. So my wife could ask me, what is Python? Well, why would you use Python or over something else? Or what's the difference between the programming language? Just something to engage, something to show interest in what I do. Because what I do is something that's part of my life. And of course, the husband will do the same thing for the wife. But we're talking about from the husband's perspective, what the husband wants from the wife. Okay. So you show an interest in what he does. Number 8, he wants a friend. He wants that person that he can trust. Right? So that goes into other sub things. When he wants to be trust, he wants you to be honest. All right? He wants that friendship. Friendship where his emotional needs are met, and we have emotion. Men are emotional. It's said that women are more emotional than men, and that's not true. I believe women are more in tuned to their emotions than a man is. For example, let me give you an example. And guys can relate to this. Now listen carefully, women. Okay. My wife would ask me, and for years, she would ask me something like, so what do you feel about such and such and such? And I'd be like, for me, it was exacerbated by the fact that I'm so analytical. So I'd be like, what do I feel about such and such? What do I feel? I don't know how to answer that. But what do I feel? And she got it over many years. She'll ask me, what do I feel? Then she'll say, oh, well, what do you think? Well, I think he's an idiot. Because I can tell you what I'm thinking, but what I'm feeling, I don't know what I'm feeling most of the time. All right, so he wants a friend. He wants that someone that he can be emotional to as well, even though I'm not as in tune to my emotions. But men have emotions. You think of when their team wins the Super Bowl or the World Series or something, how emotional. I mean, come on. All right. Men get frazzled and afraid, but you can lean on that friend to help you get through it. Men get afraid. Every human get afraid. You lose your job. You get laid off. You're afraid. What's going to happen? But you have that friend there that's going to encourage you. And the man would love for that friend to start in home. All right? Oh, not like, oh, now you don't have a job. How are we going to pay for the mortgage? You got to get a job, No. He would, look, you can do anything you want. Don't worry. We'll get through this. All right? He wants someone to encourage him. He wants someone to encourage him, that friend to encourage him, someone that's going to be there for him. You can tell who your friends are when trouble comes because they're going to still be standing there with you. So he wants that friendship to start in the house with his wife. Okay? And he wants a shoulder to cry on. Not that a man's going to necessarily cry on your shoulder, but the point is that he wants someone where he can express how he feels. Yes, we do. I know when I'm sad. I know when I'm Well, angry. Angry is a secondary emotion. See, women don't understand. A man will get angry when you disrespect him, not because the anger isn't because of whatever it was. It was because he was disrespected. He's angry because he was disrespected, not at what you think he's angry about. All right, that's a whole nother thing. I can get into the psyche of manhood, but anyway. So he's not necessarily going to cry on his shoulder, but someone that he can just, I'm scared, babe. I don't know what we're going to do. You know, I'm really worried. I mean, if we can't pay this mortgage, what are we going to do? We're going to be homeless. No, calm down, baby. We'll get through this. All right, you don't want that wife. Oh yeah, you got to hurry up and get a job. Can you sell pizzas? Okay. A guy wants his wife to appreciate him, and that's kind of tightly connected to respect. He wants you to appreciate him. In other words, don't take your husband for granted. This guy works hard. He might do a crappy job. I even feel for those guys who are out there in the sewers doing plumbing work, and they're crawling around different gooky places to make a living, to bring some money home to his family. Those guys I highly respect. I mean, I work in an office, at least. I work with computers and networks. I'm not doing what you might call dirty work. I mean, even though sometimes when you run cable, you run in some crazy, dusty, place. But, those guys are doing things that should be appreciated by everybody, you know? And he expects that appreciation from his wife, not just from about his occupation, but also about just anything around the house. Just appreciate this guy. I remember I gave my father. I was a teenager. I think I was in college, and I began to think about things. And I realized my dad was incredible. He kept the family together, and so I got him a card. I say, "Look, Dad, I appreciate all you've done, man." You know, So a wife should be that way as well, and you can show that appreciation in many ways. And remember his love language. You can speak his love language. You know. Let me just add this little section in. I realized after doing all the recording that I didn't include the part of engagement, what a man wants from his wife in the relationship. And one of the things he wants is engagement. He wants his wife to engage. Men want their wives to be an active and willing part of their lives. Wives should give their husbands and relationship, for that matter, a high priority. And it's easy to let that falter, It is a terrible thing for a husband to watch, to observe, to see his wife engaging with their children, with her job, with church activities, or maybe there's a club or something that she belongs to, and she's really gung-ho for those things. She'll go and learn new skills because of them. She'll make sure that she has the time to do what's necessary for those things, but she leaves her husband out of the cold. He's not included in that priority. He's not included in, I got to make time for X, Y, Z. You see what I'm saying? So that's a terrible thing, because as that goes on for years, of course, the husband is going to start resenting her. He wants his wife, but if he gets the idea that she doesn't want him, then bad things can start to happen in the marriage. Bad feelings can begin to fester. And of course, that can lead to resentment, and resentment can lead to a whole lot of bad things in a relationship. So it's important for a wife to engage her husband, be a part of his life. Men want their wives to be joined with them and to engage, be a part of his life in an intimate manner and not just a functional one. Because it is said that men are the only things on the planet that's not loved unconditionally. Men are loved for what they can bring to the table. Men are loved and appreciated for the functions that he provides. And That's a bad thing when you have a marriage because, I didn't get married to my wife for what she could provide. I got married because I wanted a partner. I wanted someone to journey through life with me. I wanted a co traveler, if you will, you know. And of course, I know people get married for different reasons, but when you have a situation where a guy gets married, he wants his wife to be with him, and she decides to be with the children, with the church, with her job, and everybody else except him, that's going to cause a problem. You're not engaging. You need to engage. When he brings up something in a conversation, take your face out of Facebook, take your face out of Instagram, turn off the television, put down the book, and talk to him. Engage. What's on his mind? What is he talking about? Is there something troubling it? Get to the bottom of it. All right. So husbands want their wives to be an active and willing part in their lives. Husbands want their wives. Men want their wives to engage. A man may want children from his wife. He wants a family. And this is where it can get a little tricky. All right, because most guys can tell you that they understand in our society that when you have children, in many cases, the woman's affection is going to switch from you to the children. Her priority is going to be removed from the relationship and move towards or to the children. In other words, many guys will tell you, many fathers will tell you that they take second place to the children. And in some case, they take a third place to the children and the wife's family, and which is very, very unfortunate. So you don't want to get to the point where a family means uh, um, putting your husband down. I don't care how many kids you have, you do not lower the priority of your husband for the children, right? That's a very bad move. That is a move of disrespect, all right? But he wants children. He wants to be remembered. He wants history to remember him. Van Halen, whatever. All right. Now, another thing that a man wants from his wife, and this is, I'm just going to say it, number 12, he wants a presentation. He wants her to look nice. He wants her to look presentable. He wants to be attracted by her. Right? That's it. That's what he wants to be attracted by her. There are many women out there, and I could say there are many good-looking women, but a good-looking woman is in the eye of the beholder. All right. For example, I can say a presentable woman is such and such. All right. Now, some women are very large. I would even call them fat. But there are many guys who really like that. They find that highly attractive. There are many guys who think of the stick woman, the model, those high fashion models. They find that to be very attractive. Others don't. There are other who find what they call a thick woman to be attractive, as far as body types and all that. But I'm not talking about that when I'm saying attractive. I'm saying your presentation. Are you walking around the house with raggedy, dirty clothes? When your husband look at you, is he looking at a bag lady? I don't care how pretty you think you are or anything like that. Does he have to deal with a bag lady? If he looks at you, is he gonna be anywhere near aroused or anywhere like, oh man, that's my woman? Or is he gonna be like, what the heck does she have on? All right, do you go to bed with flannel gowns and stuff on? It just things that he wants that attraction. He wants to be stimulated by you. Because there are lots of other women out there that he can be and will be stimulated by. But his affection could be for you. I remember when I was working for a guy, there were these guys huddled around this cube. and of another guy in the office. And I'm like, what the heck are they doing? And I walk over there, and it's just, what was it? The Sports Illustrated swimsuit calendar. And they were all going googly about it. I'm like, what? And then I heard one of them say, oh, he commented about the woman. And I forget how the conversation went, but it was something like, man, how do you keep this up here? I mean, wow, man. Because the guy was married. And he said, I got one of those at home. He got one of those at home. In other words, his wife to him was very attractive. And the fact that they had a swimsuit calendar up there, I don't know, office politics or office protocol or whatever, but I never forgot that. That's important. And it goes for the men too. Don't get me wrong. You're going around, you let yourself go. You have big giant beer belly, and you just you raggedy clothes. No, you want to be presentable. Think about it. You present yourself to strangers all the time. You get dressed. You make sure you got you're groomed and all that. And you go out. So you want to make yourself presentable for your spouse, for your husband as well. Of course, unless you're painting the house or cleaning a sewer drain or something. But even then, he can look at you. Oh. All right, that's what you want. Your husband wants that. A man wants that from his wife, to be stimulated, to be attracted to. All right. So those are 12 things that a man wants from his wife. If I thought about it more, I could probably think of more. But one of the basic fundamental ones are, first of all, respect and sex. Respect and sex and understanding. But it all goes down to respect and sex. Because if you have the respect, that'll fall into a lot of the things that we talked about. All right? Okay. This is William Cunningham of My Hope in Marriage at myhopeandmarriage.com. If you have a comment, feel free to leave a comment. If guys, if there's something else you thought I missed or I should include, write me. Leave a comment, and I will, if I agree, I will adjust. I will I always update my articles based on feedback that I get from people, if it's pertinent. All right, because sometimes I just get complaints, and usually they're from women, which is really interesting. I got a comment from a lady like a week or so ago. It was she was just being nasty, and I just like, look, if you're not going to be respectful, don't leave a comment, right? Because I'm not going to approve it. I'm going to delete it. All right. But even if you disagree, tell me. I'll prove it. Is your point of view. All right. So, but anyway, you can get to us again on myhopeandmarriage.com. Leave a comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and if you liked it, hit the like. You can subscribe. I'm not really into subscriptions. If you want to be notified on any other videos that I post, go ahead and find it. But I'm not trying to build a big giant subscription or anything like that. All right. But anyway, I hope you found this article, this video helpful and insightful, especially for women. All right. Well, I want you all to be blessed. And until the next time, go ahead and do what you can for your marriage and learn about your marriage. All right. Have a good one.